Now on BBC World News, following the recent killings of humanitarian aid workers, this special report in harm's way travels to Afghanistan, Colombia and Democratic Republic of Congo. Is the time when aid workers stepped into the middle of a conflict, delivered relief and were welcomed by all sides finished? Being a humanitarian aid worker in a conflict today means putting yourself in the line of fire. In 1999, the UN listed 65 attacks on aid workers. In 2009, 278 attacks, 102 of them fatal. The UN High Commissioner for Refugees is in no doubt that humanitarianism is a far more dangerous occupation because the very notion of neutrality is vanishing.
Security for humanitarian work is shrinking. There are less and less people to whom we have access. In many parts of the world we just cannot get there because security does not allow. And for a variety of reasons. The classic pattern of a war between two states or a government and a rebel group is no longer there. You have different militias, ethnic, religious, government troops, and bandits. And sometimes you can be a bandit in the morning and a member of a militia in the afternoon. And so it becomes unpredictable. And insecurity became the biggest factor that shrinks the humanitarian space.
In modern conflict with no recognized battlefronts, is humanitarianism being squeezed out for good? Or is it too soon to deliver a pessimistic verdict? That's what this program asks as we travel to 3 theaters of conflict in Afghanistan, Colombia and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Ronnie Broman, co-founder of Médecins Sans Frontières, coined the term humanitarian space in 1990.
To be able to speak with the people, to be able to keep an eye on the goods and services, and to be able to move freely in the region. They are not ultimate goals in themselves, but indicators of freedom of the space we work in. That's what humanitarian space meant for me.
The ICRC, the International Committee of the Red Cross, founded in 1863, claims it is the most scrupulously neutral of all the humanitarian organizations. Now, not even the famous Red Cross guarantees safety.
I don't believe that there is something like a protected, pure space for humanitarians in a situation of armed conflict. It's a daily struggle to ensure that we are understood, accepted, able to reach populations affected. And in the ICRC's experience, that goes through dialogue with all the parties in a conflict zone.
Alexandra Fazina, a British photojournalist based in Pakistan for the last 2 years, has seen humanitarian space in Afghanistan shrink to where anyone with a Western connection is a target.
Journalists and NGOs have definitely become targets, both valuable in terms of kidnapping, and they're seen as symbols of the West, even though that their agendas often are very different than what these rebel groups or terrorists might consider them as.
Fazina was given this year's Nansen Award, named after the first High Commissioner for Refugees, for her coverage of refugees in Africa and Asia. Afghanistan is the most dangerous country for foreign aid workers. Here, a UN flag gives little protection. In October 2009, a UN building was targeted by suicide bombers. 12 UN employees perished. In October 2010, the UN was again attacked in Herat. According to Antonio Guterres, the UN is especially vulnerable because insurgents do not separate its humanitarian mission from the politics of the Security Council in New York.
The UN is not only a set of humanitarian agencies. The UN is a Security Council. And the Security Council takes decisions that are political decisions. And sometimes those decisions are in favor of one position and against another position. And so we need to understand that In order for these humanitarian principles to be respected, we need to preserve the autonomy of the humanitarian space.
The coalition's 120,000 troops struggle to provide a secure environment for aid workers. For Ronnie Broman, it's the presence of foreign troops in a civil conflict that compromises the space.
The space is either blocked or shrinks so much that we can't even work anymore, in situations where there are foreign military forces, in combat position, in short, where there are international military expeditions.
On August the 6th, 2010, 10 members of a medical eye care team working for the International Assistance Mission were executed in Nuristan.
They were attacked by unknown assailants and gunned down 10 of them. There's confusions, and the humanitarians find themselves maybe caught up in other agendas. Not that they are doing anything, but that they're being confused with others.
Most humanitarian organizations have started using guards. But the Red Cross, which has been in the country since 1979, says it's the armed escorts that put its staff in greater danger.
123, you got that UN traffic currently in the center line for its engine start, so you can fill the center line with fruit.
This is Kandahar, Afghanistan's second largest city, a stronghold of the Taliban and a key battleground for control in the country. This place is the ultimate test of whether combatants will respect the ICRC's policies of neutrality. Abdul Kabir, once a mujahideen who fought against the Russians, is in charge of communications and monitors security for ICRC here.
Everywhere you see soldiers, everywhere you see all these police and Afghan national. For us, if we are in wrong moment, wrong place, and then it will be terrible.
ICRC is the only international organization that has permanent foreign staff in Kandahar, but its operations have been severely curtailed.
Experts are all here, you can go.
We had the dramatic killing of one of our expatriates in 2003, and this also coincided with an insurgency growing again and really changing our working environment. Being able to serve these people has become very, very difficult.
This is the ICRC compound in Kandahar. It may look like a bunker, but there are no armed guards. In Kandahar, the compound and the Mirwais Hospital, just 400 meters away, is what passes for the official humanitarian space. But the Red Cross has extended it by using taxis as ambulances to bring the wounded to hospital.
He has got injury on his right side. 3 to 4 hours driving from there to here. Yeah, this is a gunshot.
ICRC staff pay the fare and immediately send the most severely injured to Mirwais Hospital. Depending on the fighting, there can be up to 50 taxis a week.
Mine. Road mine. An emergency, take first to the hospital and come back again.
Though just 400 meters apart, Red Cross personnel can only move from compound to hospital after clearing security. Mirwais is the sole hospital equipped for surgery in southern Afghanistan.
Somebody just shot him? Huh? He was working for the police?
No, yes, civilian.
This old gentleman was working in public bathrooms. Someone is entering in this bathroom and shooting him, and he died right now. Yeah. Every day we have such kind of cases that someone is killing by unknown people.
The escalation in the fighting has doubled the number of severely wounded Afghans coming to Mirwais by the ambulance taxis. Everybody, including the Taliban, is treated here.
Mine exploded.
But Mirwais' status as a humanitarian outpost was hard to achieve.